And welcome, everybody, to the 125th episode of The Fact Is Podcast. We're your hosts, Nate Moses.
And I'm Ryan Mays.
And welcome, everybody. Everybody here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic night. Happy Wednesday. Hump day it is. How you feeling today, Ryan?
Man, I'm on a emotional high right now. We just got done jamming some Lil Weezy. We got done jamming to a lot of good music. Yeah, man, we were rocking out. We were rocking out, and then we got into the rap game.
And for anybody who doesn't know why we were rocking out, take a gander at that gorgeous bandana that we have on this man's head. Not the board, that bandana, son. Look at that. Gorgeous.
You want me to give you a 360 here?
Love it.
I told you I'm the hat guy.
The hat guy.
Tonight, I went with the most amazing hat that I could find.
I love it. So, welcome everybody. Dean, thank you for jumping in here. Appreciate you, old faithful. Yep. But now, as Ryan was going to point out towards, we have the beautiful board. So, let's talk about what we got going on with this board here. Number one, NAACP warning. That's going to be an interesting topic. We'll get to discuss a little bit about that. Number two, Hunter Biden. We get to discuss more about the Hunter Biden case and what's happening going on there. Number three,
Epstein not dead?
Question mark.
Might want to get out those 10 hats for that one, fellas.
Big old 10 hats. Number four, we're going to talk about the F-16s that were sent over to Ukraine, what's happening there. And then number five, Nazi crash. So if y'all didn't hear, interesting situation that happened over at the White House, and I just cannot seem to fathom or understand why that happened or what's going on there. But we'll discuss that later on in the episode. So,
there's Profit Mill Gaming.
Educated
source close to the matter.
That's exactly right. So, what's happening? Appreciate you jumping in here as well, sir. Create T-shirts on that man.
Put some respect on his name.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's just jump. If you are ready, jump straight into this. You good to go?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have anything else.
I feel like I'm strapped into a roller coaster.
Actually, real quick, before we do get started, do want to say next week, probably no episode. We will have one of our beautiful individuals here within our little group going on a vacation, a much-needed vacation. So I am I am also fair to blame on that one. But
I stay home.
I
stay at work.
We're gonna be probably not live next week unless two of us decide to jump on here and do it. But that'll be determined. So actually, before we start, let's do a quick plug for anybody who hasn't yet. Comment, share, and follow across all of our socials. Help us grow.
All the platforms.
Yeah, you got to help us grow. Got to help us get out there. We're just trying to inform everyone and make sure, because obviously we're only doing this because we love to and because we love doing it for you guys. We like informing you also. Please make sure you all do those things, and it will help us grow tremendously. But without further ado, let's jump straight into it. NAACP, what do they have to say? So, let's jump. Gotta find my notes here. Sorry. Okay, so the NAACP. NAACP President and CEO Derek Johnson on Monday defended the organization's decision to issue a travel advisory to Florida for Black Americans and communities of color. The governor has perfected the art of pulling stunts to gain campaign contributions, Johnson said on CNN this morning. Referring to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, unfortunately, this will impact people's lives. We should not use race or othering as a tool to weaponize against people, and unfortunately for a large percentage of Floridians, that's what he has done. Therefore, we are advising African Americans and others that if you travel to Florida, be aware that your life is not valued. Wow, that's a strong statement. The NAACP on Saturday issued a statement saying DeSantis has been on a quest to silence Black Americans and has made it clear they are unwelcome in the state. It also said the state devalues and marginalizes the contributions of the challenges faced by African Americans and other communities of color. Due to the sustained, blatant, relentless, systematic attack on democracy and civil rights, the NAACP hereby issues a travel advisory to African Americans and other people of color regarding the hostility towards African Americans in Florida, the group said. Over the past year, DeSantis has signed a host of legislation into law that many argue is discriminatory and anti-black. In addition to being one of the leading voices against critical race theory, an academic framework evaluating U.S. history through the lens of racism that has become a political catch-all buzzword for any race-related teaching, DeSantis signed the Stop Woke Act, restricting how schools and workplaces can address race, banned an advanced placement African American studies pilot program from running in schools, and just last week prohibited colleges and universities from spending public funds on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Johnson said on CNN that DeSantis is minimalizing the quality of education, issuing policies that are harmful to far too many individuals. We are witnessing firsthand how he's governing, and he's governing to a small vocal minority of the community, not the majority interests of Florida, Johnson said, nor is he governing towards a future of Florida, which will not look like the small minority that he's speaking to in this moment. In March, DeSantis was confronted by the possibility of the state's NAACP chapter asking for such advisory, but he called it a joke. We'll see how effective that is. DeSantis said at the time, "It's ridiculous, and we're proud to be leading the nation in tourism." This is part of the reason why our country goes through all these. We get involved in these stupid fights. This is a stunt to try to do that, a pure stunt, and fine. If you want to waste your time on a stunt, that's fine, but I'm not wasting a time on your stunts, Governor added. The NAACP's travel advisory came just before DeSantis is expected to announce his bid for the White House, which he did do today. And according to Johnson, one of the goals of the travel advisory is to draw attention to these policies. We didn't get here overnight. It was because of the election, so we have to prepare for the next election so we can get rid of him once and for all, Johnson said. That's the end of the article. This one is, I don't know. To say that if you are African American and to advise not going to Florida just because you disagree with some of the policies that Ron DeSantis is putting in place, and some of the things he's doing, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say you're, like your life is not valued if you're African American and go to Florida. I don't see how that's necessarily what he's saying. Those are strong words, like very strong words. So I don't know what your take is on this.
My take is that he announced his bid for presidency.
That he did. And
so now the full force is going to come after him. And they're going to try to pick him apart. And they're going to try to do anything and everything they can to stop his momentum.
Stop him, yeah.
Because he is a legitimate threat to the Trump campaign. I feel like they, on the other side of the aisle, feel that if it's Trump back in the running, they have a chance at knocking him off just because so many Americans do not like Trump,
right?
Or just who he is as a person,
right?
And so with DeSantis, DeSantis brings a lot of momentum with him. And a lot of that momentum is, how he handled COVID, his body of work as the governor. He's done a really good job in Florida with a lot of different policies.
Right.
He's, attacked corporations who are not, doing what's in the best interest of Floridians, i.e. Disney. He actually did go after one of the biggest corporate conglomerates in the world. He's done a lot of things to try to make Florida as free as possible while also, limiting the amount of crazy ideology that's out there.
Yes.
I mean, this whole like stop the woke thing, it makes a lot of sense on a lot of different fronts. And it's the woke policies that are out there and the things that they're trying to push, the agenda that they're trying to push is downright scary. I mean, it really is. Like, there's a lot of things in there that are hidden behind people saying, all we want is equal rights. All we want is equal this. We just want equality. We want people to be able to live their lives. If that's the case, then why are you targeting children?
Yeah.
Why are you targeting, people who are vulnerable? So I haven't gotten to read the full, body of the stuff that the NAACP put out against him.
Right.
The Hill, that article, just reading it does sound like it is biased one way, and there was a lot of just rhetoric in there that and excerpts that make me feel that way. So I could be completely off on that, but I would like to find a couple of other sources. I'm going to do my own research on it and come to my own conclusions.
Yeah, I was going to say that the article was pretty vague, and it quoted those people in it. They didn't give any kind of like examples or description of what they were talking about. They just were using a bunch of terms and words.
Buzzwords.
Yeah, they didn't have any information to back it up.
Right.
Yeah, there was no there was no context. That's why I felt like it was kind of leaning one way.
Right.
It was kind of...
And so, like, I want to kind of define Stop the Woke Act, right? So the Stop the Wrongs to Our Kids and Employees Act will be the strongest legislation of its kind. So for schools, it's protecting our teachers and students. It codifies the Florida Department of Education's prohibition of teaching critical race theory in K-12 schools. Prohibits school districts, colleges, and universities from hiring woke CRT consultants. Corporations protects employees against a hostile work environment due to critical race theory training and consequences. So tools for employees and teachers to fight back, provides employees, parents, and students a private right of action, strengthens and enforces enforcement authority of the Florida Department of Education. So it's like the Stop the Woke Act. I'm critical race theory has been debunked by a lot of different people. Even African American adults have stepped up and said, look, you're not going to tell me that because I am black or because I am a certain ethnicity that I have less ability to be successful in my life.
Or I'm a victim.
Or I'm a victim just because of my color. And we have clearly, me and you, you know, and Stuart as well, I mean, everybody, right, has clearly made friends that are in higher places based on their education, their hard work, has nothing to do with their skin color.
Nope.
Not a damn thing with their skin color. I know plenty of people who, whether they're black, you know, Latin, Asian, doesn't matter. It does not matter what your skin color is or your ethnicity. You can exceed in life if you just put your mind to it, and it's as simple as that. It really is. It's got nothing to do with your ethnicity. So I'm not liking the whole critical race theory, so I'm kind of behind that. CRT is very scary thing to teach, and especially to children. You know, well,
I mean, what's the message it sends to like little kids?
Yeah, that I'm a victim.
You know, just because you are this color, you know, you actually come from a long line of victims. You're a victim yourself. It's scary stuff, man, and it's. Do I think that the history of America has been fair? No, I don't.
No, I agree with that.
But do I think that now it's worse than it was then? Absolutely not.
No, not
like
even
you
close.
Just said, all three of us, we all know people who are business owners who are like CEOs or, you know, I mean, for God's sakes, the owner or the CEO of Google is, I think, Indian, correct? Yeah. So if it was really as racist as everybody, you know, claims it to be, if the country was, then you wouldn't have these people of different nationalities, different ethnicities in these high positions of power. That's just not how things work.
Yeah, and I mean, again, when you look at some of our greatest athletes, you know, no discrimination by any means. You know, African Americans are some of our greatest athletes here in America. Yeah, I mean, you have obviously great athletes no matter your ethnicity, but like there is no, you know, stopping somebody because of their ethnicity anymore. Now, back in the day, redlining and, you know, Jim Crow laws, yes, 100%. We can all agree that at one point in life, you know, history was not on the side of colored people or
in America. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, anybody who wasn't almost white there for a period of time. Yeah. But times have changed. Like, I think everybody especially in America, is over the ethnicity talk. Like, nobody wants to talk about that anymore. People are tired of hearing about what ethnicity you are.
Well, I think you're generalizing there. I think there is a large group that do want to continue that conversation, and they do want to dig into it. But I think a lot of people are, on the, like you said, they're kind of tired of being told that they're a victim. They're tired of being told that they can't do something based on the color of their skin. And it's coming from the side who's saying, like, oh, let us help you. Yeah. Let us help you. And that, to me, is just wrong on so many different levels. But,
I don't know, though.
Educated source close to the matter has a couple of comments on there. And his first one says, sounds like race baiting by an organization that's supposed to protect race. I think they're trying to attack him because he's running for the office. Yeah, that's what I said leading off on this segment here. And then he also said a strategic tactic to muddy the water for a strong candidate. I completely agree with that. One. And then he said, stop the woke BS and CRT is a weapon. It's just ammo for desperation.
Which we've talked about before, Dre, how...
It's not Dre.
Sorry.
Educated source close to the material.
What was the abbreviation? XTM. So XTM is 100% correct, and we have actually discussed how desperation is used as a weapon for individuals, and that's a very good topic to discuss as well. So no, I'm 100% on board with that. And then he even jumped in with another one and said, I'm black, I'm a business owner in a majority white area, and my business is firearms. There you go. Right? Like, that proves everything we need to talk about. Again,
on a small scale, it does. Yes, absolutely.
Because I may be generalizing when I say most people are done, but I do question what, like...
I would think a majority of people probably are done.
I wonder if... And, you've heard about situations where people do get paid to create issues for no reason, right? And like how I believe it's like George Soros, who is one of the biggest
Democratic
donors, and like has paid crowds to be at places to be able to do things specifically for the Democrats and be on their side and show a face. I wonder if that's not one of those situations, because truly to me, it's just infuriating to see that we even talk about ethnicity anymore. I mean, I'll be honest, because at this point, it's just, I'm over it, and I feel like majority of people are over it.
Hey, man, this is the way I'll say it. If you have respect, if you work hard, if you, believe strongly in something, and you're willing to go out and pursue your happiness, I got all the respect in the world for you. I don't care what color you are.
Damn straight. Great thing said. So, yeah, I think we kind of hit the nail on the head with that one. Everybody kind of... Stu, you got any other last words you want to touch up on with that? No? Good to go. All right, cool. So, yeah, NAACP. Very strong choice of words, and, a message that... interesting to say the least. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right message to send.
Yeah. Well, guess what? On to the crackhead.
On to the crackhead. So let's talk about old Hunter Biden. So a second IRS whistleblower has alleged retaliation for raising concerns that the Justice Department leadership was acting inappropriately on the investigation into Hunter Biden. The Washington Examiner has learned. The allegations from the IRS case agent came after a month. An IRS supervisory special agent revealed to Congress politics had infected the case involving President Joe Biden's son. Both whistleblowers were removed from the federal investigation into possible Hunter Biden tax violations this month. Communications obtained by the first whistleblower's lawyers show that the second whistleblower was threatened with allegations of criminal conduct after raising concerns about the handling of Hunter Biden's case. So the lawyer for the initial IRS whistleblower, Tristan Laviette, and Mark Lytle, the president of Empower Oversight and a partner at the Nixon Peabody LLP, respectively, fired off a newsletter to the IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel on Saturday in which they outlined the alleged retaliation. So Leavitt also sent a separate letter to the Office of Special Counsel on Wednesday in which he said his client, a supervisory special agent with the IRS's Criminal Investigation Division, had allegedly been retaliated against numerous times for making protected disclosures in 2021, 22, and 23. The IRS whistleblowers legal team had said last week that the IRS had removed the entire investigation team in the Hunter Biden tax evasion, which we discussed last week, investigation at the request of the Justice Department. Congressional Republicans last week demanded an urgent briefing and explanation from Werfel about the whistleblowers' claims. My choice was to turn a blind eye on their malfeasance and not sleep, or to put myself in the crosshairs by doing the right thing, the IRS whistleblower told his IRS superiors in one December 2022 email. My conscience chose the latter. I hope IRS CI applauds and the incredibly difficult position I have been put into instead of entertaining the USAO's attacks. So, interesting discussion here, right? This is the second person to come out and say Hunter Biden,
wrongdoing.
Yeah, Hunter Biden and the Biden family has somebody in there that is trying to protect him. They are purposely trying to falsify these accusations. They are, they're doing criminal conduct. And to be a whistleblower, I could only imagine how difficult that would be.
How scary it is.
I mean, number one, you're putting your life at risk for many different reasons. Finances, the ability to help your family and be able to, allow them to have a life that you've been able to give them because of this career. Your life in general, because you're going after, again, one of the most powerful families out there in the world, along with the Clintons, and we've seen what happens with anybody who's involved with that family. Again,
there's a long list of what
tinfoil
happens.
hat, I get it, but at the same time, it is just creepy how people tend to disappear.
Up to 74?
Yeah. So.
Or is it 49? Either way.
I don't know how big it is.
It's more
anything
than
above one is bad. So it's scary to see what's happening, and it's got to be scary to be a whistleblower. So, kudos to those who, to the two whistleblowers who are, telling us they are trying to cover up for them, because that is incredibly brave. And, thank you for your service for what you do here in America. I just want to say that. Other than that, I don't know what else to really say on this. I mean, it's just kind of out in the open, right? We need investigations, but who's going to do the investigations when the people who are supposed to be doing the investigations are corrupt?
Getting fired. Or they keep getting fired.
They keep getting fired
from the case. Because
they're telling everybody else, hey, there's some bad things going on here. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know where to go from this.
Obstruction of justice.
Yeah, but then, who's to say that the next lineup of people that they do for the investigation aren't going to do the same darn thing? When are we truly going to get an audit that is legit and that we can trust? Again, when it comes from the people and somebody actually goes and decides to do that audit. Mm-hmm. I truly think it's going to take, and I hate to say it like this, but it's going to take an armed. And I say armed because I don't think that the FBI or the IRS or anybody who's investigating the Bidens are just going to willingly hand over those documents for the people to actually audit. Could you imagine if you took some of the world's top accountants, or America's top accountants at least? Let's just keep it here in America. You take America's top accountants to go through, review these files, make sure that everything is kosher, and without any disturbance from any outside sources. It is just people, who are just who made a living doing accounting and can easily tell you what's wrong, what's right. But again, the possibilities of them, if they did find something, and the consequences that could come to their family or their friends or whoever, I mean, it's a scary task to ask anybody to do, but I mean, I truly think that's the only way you're ever going to find the answer.
The issue is it's politics over what's right.
Yeah. I'm at a point where I don't know how else to solve this, and I don't know if there is a resolution without the people themselves, us the people, truly taking a genuine interest into this and wanting to figure out who's lying, who's right, you know, who's truly corrupt, and what we can do there. So I'm stuck on this. Ryan, Stu, I don't know if y'all have any suggestions on what else we could do. But it's just it's extremely scary that we're supposed to trust, you know, who's the FBI and what they're doing going into this, and we can't trust them.
I mean, have you guys seen the whistleblower hearings from the FBI?
I have not.
Oh man, that stuff's scary. It's and you know the same FBI is now being trusted to do these investigations into the Biden family, and they've been basically, like, these whistleblowers had the full force of the American government basically come down on them.
Right.
And you're sitting here and you're looking at it and you're hearing these stories and you're like, oh my gosh, is that for real? Like, are we really in that kind of society?
Yeah.
Like, this sounds like some KGB stuff, man.
Yeah.
And then you see stories like this and you're like, daggone, man, that is...
How much further is it going to go?
How much further is it going to go, you know? And it's scary stuff, man. It really is.
And Dean comes out and says we need more whistleblowers to come out and give the public factual information that these agencies are hiding and covering up. I agree with that. But again, it's hard for these whistleblowers to come out. Now, I mean, if you do it in numbers, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you, right? Like, if you had a huge number of whistleblowers come out, it's like, okay, now we understand we need to restructure the entire FBI, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, like, who all's gonna come out when you know the power that is behind what you're blowing the whistle on?
Yeah, exactly. And even these two whistleblowers are scared to death.
Oh, I would be too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them.
What happens when you disappear into a dark alley one night or something, you know, crazy like that? It's not out of the realm of possibility.
So, Extum says, I think it's crazy. I think the crazy thing at this point is you are still expecting honesty and justice with matters like this.
No. I don't expect honesty and justice with anything that's close to that side.
It's just...
Or the other side. Or politics in general.
Politics in general. It's just... I guess it's not what I'm expecting, but I'm trying to find a potential solution, if that makes sense. And I mean, if you could create a division within our society, like I have an idea. We'll talk about that offline. Not even going to spill that all over the Facebook, YouTube, Twitch.
Yeah, but click over to me real quick, still.
Yeah, Dr. Evil.
$100 million.
That's hilarious. No, I mean, I don't know. Like, it really will just take the American people to step up and actually find an interest in this. And it's so hard when our lives are already consumed with work, families, friends. You know, it's already hard enough.
You know, we got to do like the song says, man. Fight for what's right for every man.
Oh, wow.
And woman.
We just listened to that, too.
Yeah.
AR 2.0. Solution?
Like I've said many times, we got to hold these people accountable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But again, who's going to hold them accountable when the department that's supposed to hold them accountable is lying for them?
It's not being accountable.
Yeah, it's not being accountable.
Like I said, they're playing politics over what's right and what's just.
Right, and that's the horrible part. So,
and that's the death spiral.
With the same logic as being scared to come out as a whistleblower, won't the people be scared to face those agencies as an armed threat to them then?
I don't think so if you get enough people together.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is...
If you had a 1 million man march on the FBI, you know, building or something like that, I really, you know, and if you show numbers and you show force like that and it's done peacefully and there's a protest and there's 1 million people there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, like, truly 1 million people literally surrounding all of Langley
in a peaceful way.
In a peaceful way.
But
they need to understand.
Go in there and storm the building. That's not gonna do anything for anybody.
But they need to understand that we're serious about this. Like, we can't keep allowing corruption to just overtake our country. Because
it's already overtaken it.
I mean, right, but we can't allow it to get to a point where it's too far. And maybe it is too far. I don't know. Can we come back from it? I absolutely think we can come back for it. But I just don't know how else to fix this.
Like we're doing right now. Talk about
it. And actually come up with solutions with. But here's the other problem. To make anything happen, let's be realistic, you need money. Did you see? Yeah, Exum's comment. This guy's solution was about to be communism on paper. Funny man.
Hey, if you take humans out of it, it's the perfect system.
Maybe we hire private entities to conduct these investigations. That's exactly what I was thinking. You literally will have to have private entities take this over. But again, how are you going to convince the FBI?
Project Veritas.
Well, not a bad idea.
Have them infiltrate, like Project Veritas has done. Infiltration tactics and investigative journalism.
But even then, we've already had 2 people come out and say, they're lying.
Yeah, but we don't have
video footage, I guess.
Video and audio of 2 people just sitting at a restaurant talking about how they are absolutely doing what we suspect them of doing.
Right.
That's where Project Veritas is powerful.
And I can agree with that. And then Dean comes back.
Yeah, and also too, it takes good journalism as well, which is kind of a lost art in this country anymore.
It is.
Well, journalism is basically non-existent at this point. It's just propaganda for one side or the other.
Dean asked, how realistic is it, though? And that's the problem. It's not realistic. Just like actually finding a solution for this and being able to hold the FBI accountable is also not a realistic solution. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's right now it's not realistic, because if it was, then somebody would be doing it, right?
Or maybe somebody is starting.
Maybe somebody is
getting it up off the ground.
I hope so. I would love to be part of that. I would absolutely love to.
Not. Simply because
you're putting yourself in jeopardy, big time.
And it's not just you.
Anybody involved, or your family, or your loved ones, friends, doesn't matter.
And that's the scary part. Is that's what the FBI whistleblowers that are testifying in front of Congress said.
They're scared.
No, they're not. They're not holding back. They're going for anybody you're affiliated with, anybody who has anything to do with you, your family.
Yep.
They're crushing you.
And that's what they'll do. They'll do anything to keep their power. And as long as they have the money, that's what's going to happen.
I think a big issue now, too, is we talked about the journalist thing. I think there's good journalists out there, but the state wants to discredit them. So any kind of outside force that we have that comes and disagrees with the status quo, the state's going to discredit them.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Because, the states, that's who you're fighting is the state. Right, or the feds, the state.
I wouldn't even call it the state. I would just call it the Fed.
Yeah,
you're fighting against the federal government. And the federal government is powerful.
Very.
It's the most powerful entity in the world.
And seeing the resources they have and what they can do.
They can literally write a blank check to come after you.
Yeah.
And print the money needed for it.
Yeah. Hey, you want $1 trillion? Go take this guy out. That's.
And they don't even have to have the money.
Extreme, but that's,
doesn't have to be backed by anything.
Nope. No. And they have a fiat currency that they can just print more of and keep throwing it at it.
That's a scary thought right there.
So
yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this situation. So Hunter Biden, will he be still a crackhead? Will he be held accountable? Will the Biden family be held accountable? To be continued.
And I also want to defend my position on him being a crackhead. I don't say that as a joke.
He
I
literally
say that very
did it on
seriously
camera
because there is footage of him just lighting up a crack pipe in bed.
Yeah, no, that's legit.
Yeah, and anybody who's out there why does he keep going after Hunter like that? And it's well, I have a good reason to. There's video footage of him smoking crack.
Talking about solutions, Nafe.
Yep.
I think it takes the citizens of this country, because without the citizens of this country, this system doesn't work.
Exactly. What happens if we stop paying taxes?
Yeah, I was going to say, what if we all just stood up and said no more income tax?
So like I said, we need the citizens of this country to take initiative,
all
and pay attention,
million.
and hold people accountable. Try to be bipartisan and think independently, not through party lines, Democrat or Republican.
Right.
And like I said, we have to have good journalism. We have to have a good press, and a press that questions these things. I can't believe we have a press nowadays that it's almost agreeing with the state. Like, they protect the government.
Yeah.
It's not about free thought and free thinking anymore.
Sorry, Stu. I just saw a comment.
So real quick, we'll run through these comments just because that was hilarious. But I like your point, and I'm actually
make a very valid point.
I
apologize.
Let me touch up on that.
In the middle of it.
The powerful people that induced the fear ironically became powerful because of how they tricked the people into giving up this power. 100% true. And then this was where it caught us off guard. Dean said some people read a book before bed and some people smoke crack. That's what makes America great.
Sorry about that, Stu. I read that like as you were reading
that was
saying
hilarious.
Your piece, man. I apologize. I did not mean to laugh in like the middle of your point.
To touch back up on Stu, though, it makes me think of like how corporations operate nowadays. Like, human resources for corporations are supposed to be there for the human resources, the assets of the company, the people themselves. They are not there for those people. They are there for the company.
Oh, they're there to protect the entity.
Exactly. So just like the press should be out there reporting for the people, they're protecting the state. I 100% agree with that.
That's a propaganda machine. I mean, that's exactly what Stu just outlined.
And if anybody hasn't seen it, go to Joe Rogan's episode with who was it again that was on there?
It was Howie Long,
where he pulls up literally every mainstream media.
No, it wasn't even mainstream. It was 24 or 50 or something.
It was local news.
Oh, was that local news?
It was local news.
Local news broadcasts that all had the exact same message.
That's so
scary. The only thing that was different was the city or the town that they were in.
Yeah, and they're like how they introduced themselves. But other than that, it was all the same words, identical. And they looked at each other, and they were, well, Howie Long looked at him like, what is going on?
Like, dude, that's effed up.
Yeah.
Or that's effing scary. And Joe was like, right. And you know how Rogan gets those big eyes? He was like, right.
So I love how Ekdom says, we the people. And then AR 2.0, stop hiding from it. What is AR 2.0? I need to know what AR 2.0 is. But
it's these two things though too that bother me. Like, when there can't be any other experts besides an expert hired from the federal government, and independent media is discredited as well, unless you're state funded or a big mainstream outlet. You're discredited.
Yep.
I mean, there are a lot of independent media outlets out there. But
and I'm shocked they haven't come after.
Group chat that had the meme. It was like, of course, the scientists agree if you censored the ones who disagree.
Yes, that was. Was
that our group chat?
That was ours. You know, coming back to actually your point, I'm shocked nobody has kind of like come after Crystal and Sagar yet, or some of these independent news sites. At least I haven't seen it because I don't pay attention to any mainstream media anymore.
Do though, and they get them back in line. Just like the Young Turks.
Yeah.
He went off on a rant not too long ago, a month or so ago. And they sent the bots, they sent people. Of
course they did.
All of a sudden, he just got hellfire rained down on him.
Yeah.
And he perked right back up.
Shocker. Anything they can do to bring down the independent media. But, anyways. Hunter Biden?
That's what it takes, though.
We'll see.
People going against the grain, coming out and talking about it. Keep talking about it and holding your government accountable and living up to what this country should be of checks and balances.
And I hate to say it, but money. It's going to take a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
No, it will.
But it's going to take a lot of money. Because, like, theoretically, yes, you don't need money to be able to hold them accountable, but at the same time, people need to make a living, and to be able to do this would consume so much of your time. You would need to somehow make a living off of it.
The thing is this, and this is going to tie a lot of different things in. The hamster wheel that everybody is
all
on.
turning.
Well, the hamster wheel that everybody's on, right, has people just barely making it.
Right.
So everybody's in survival mode. So they don't have time to pick their head up and pay attention to what's going on around them.
How much of a percentage would you say is in survival mode right now? At least 50?
No, I mean 65% of people right now, if they got into a car crash that cost more than $500, would have to
can't even afford it.
Have to take a loan,
personal loan, yeah,
or credit card or something.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
Oh my.
85% of people with a college degree come out of school and end up working in retail.
That's, gosh.
So
scary thoughts there.
And then also, what is it? 90? I think it's like 90. I want to say 2, but I could be wrong. So please don't quote me on it. I think like 92% of people have less than $5,000 in their bank account.
Wow. Ugh. That's I mean, I know it's a high percentage. Anywhere between like 85 to, I think, like you said, 92.
I know it's there,
very high.
But I could be off on the percentages, so please don't quote me on it.
But like to think about like liquidity,
Google search,
yeah.
So
to think about like liquidity of just cash in your bank account, not even $5,000. I mean, I don't know everybody's financial status out there in America, or like at least watching us right now. But to think about that. Like, no wonder anxiety and depression and all this stuff is so far up when you can't even think about, like, oh my goodness, if I have a emergency surgery or anything, that I can't even afford it.
Forget $5,000. I bet a lot don't even have $1,000.
I mean, I know that the percentage is high, but it's not as high as what the $5,000 was. But the other thing is you think about it, right? When was our country at its most powerful? Is when people could support a family on one income. They could, buy a car, buy a house, live life, enjoy life on one income. You could, have your wife choose to stay at home. Actually, back in those days, it wasn't really a choice, but
right.
I mean, it was too. It was coming out of World War II. Women had entered the workforce. It was 50s, 60s. So women's rights had come a long way by then, but they still hadn't gotten to where they're at now, where a woman can go out and be CEO if she wants to be. But it's kind of scary that in just a short amount of time, like 2 generations, America is severely in debt, and you cannot support a family on one income if you're an average American.
So, looking right now, I don't know how true this is, but I got it from Zippia.com. Less than $1,000, 42% of Americans have less than 1,000. 1,000 to 5,000 is 16%.
Only 16%. So 84% of Americans have less than $5,000 in their pocket.
That's insane. That's insane. So
92 was a little bit of a stretch, but it's way up there.
Still way up there. 84%. And I don't even know how true this one is, because again, it's not like a.
What about 10,000? Does it have it on there?
It says 10,000. 10 to 25,000 is 8%.
So 92% of people do not have anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000. Only 8% of the population.
Well, now this one's a little skewed. This one's weird because it says 50,000 plus. There's 20% of Americans with that. 71% of Americans. Nah, this one's a little jacked up, I think. I'd have to find a legit statistic off it, and I can't.
You'd have to verify.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty accurate though, in the ballpark anyway.
Yeah.
It's got to be in the ballpark. That's crazy, man. It's so crazy. You know what's even crazier is, never mind. We're getting off on a tangent here.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move forward. We'll move forward with this, and we'll kind of talk about just overall, we need to find a way to hold the Biden family accountable, especially Hunter and everything that's happened there.
Not even just the Biden family, like the
anybody.
The government. We need to hold the government accountable
because they need to be held to the highest standard possible. So ICTM comes in and says, checks and balances sneakily contains a form of currency, brother. And then the money you have in your bank, you don't even have in your bank. All of the digital crap actually means nothing. What happens when the next Russian hack, in quotations, hits the common man's bank? That's actually a good point, too. So, I mean, I see what you're saying, but you're also supposedly insured up to $250,000 in that bank account.
You're insured a guaranteed 5 cents to every dollar. DIC.
That's crazy. Is that it?
Up to 250,000.
That's wild to me.
Also, if you don't know about fractional banking, you should probably do some research into that because your $100 gets loaned out 10 times.
Yeah.
So if you put $100 into a bank, they loan it out 10 times. They charge interest on it and they bring it back. And it's a great way to multiply money, but it's also highly unethical.
But let's move forward. Let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates and what's happening there.
Jeffrey Epstein's not dead.
So Jeffrey Epstein apparently threatened to expose an affair between Bill Gates and a Russian woman after pushing the Microsoft co-founder to participate in the multi-billion-dollar charitable fund. The Wall Street Journal reported Sunday, making Gates the latest billionaire in recent weeks to be tied to Epstein. Gates reportedly met the woman, a bridge player who was in her 20s, around 2010, and Epstein met her in 2013 when she was seeking funding to start an online bridge tutorial platform, later paying for her to attend a software programming boot camp, the Journal reported, citing multiple unnamed sources. In 2017, after the affair had ended, Epstein, a convicted sex offender, asked Gates to reimburse him for the costs of the course in an email that reportedly read like an implicit threat to reveal the affair if Gates did not maintain an association with Epstein. Epstein sent the apparent threat after struggling for years to convince Gates to participate in charitable fund Epstein was attempting to establish with J.P. Morgan Chase, an endeavor that was not successful, according to the Journal. Gates' spokesperson told the Journal he did not pay Epstein back for the course and told Forbes he did not have any financial dealings with the disgraced financier, reiterating that Gates believed it was a mistake to have ever met him. J.P. Morgan Chase is currently in the midst of a civil lawsuit brought by prosecutors in the U.S. Virgin Islands that alleges the bank benefited from Epstein's sex trafficking when he was a client. Last week, the judge in the case ruled prosecutors can subpoena billionaire Tesla CEO Elon Musk after prosecutors say they believed Epstein may have referred to attempted to Musk to J.P. Morgan. Musk tweeted in response, Epstein never advised me on anything whatsoever. Other big names have also been subpoenaed to the same lawsuit, including Google co-founder Sergey Brin, Hyatt Hotels executive chairman Thomas Pritzker, and real estate mogul Mortimer Zuckerman. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon is also expected to sit for a deposition, despite the bank denying top executives were aware of Epstein's behavior. This is an interesting article. So,
how deep does the rabbit hole go?
I mean, Epstein apparently had ties to everybody. Absolutely everybody. Did he? I mean, and here's why.
Hey, they just wanted advice, right? Financial advice.
Here's why I think he was able to blackmail everybody. Epstein brought a lot of people to that private island. If you all remember, in that video or the documentary that was on Netflix that we watched, Epstein had cameras in literally every single room, including the bathrooms. It did not matter. If you were there in Epstein's house, he saw what you did. With somebody that powerful and with that much on people, he had blackmail on literally anyone who was in that house.
Yeah, anybody who went to that.
Anybody. So with that kind of power.
The other thing is this. What about those people who went there and thinking that they're on, a business trip or something like that, don't know Epstein's history, and then all of a sudden he marches a parade of underage girls out. Yeah. And now he has them on camera, you know, with underage girls.
Interesting.
You know, how many people did that happen to? I'm not saying that, you know, that's what happened. I
hear exactly what you're saying.
They should have said something right then and there.
You would think, but you're amongst the most powerful people in the world. If you whistleblow, then now you have the most powerful people in the world saying, whoa, I was there too, bro. You need to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, and not only that, but when you have that much money...
I'm sure they don't talk like that. They probably talk more sophisticated.
I highly doubt that.
And, I don't know if you can pick up on my English accent.
Just a little bit.
Prince Andrew is one of them.
When it comes to something like that, or I feel like when you have that many millionaires, billionaires under your control, you know, they're also like, I have $1 billion. If all I got to do is keep Epstein's mouth shut, okay, simple enough. I'll just help him out with this one task. Because I can keep everything else off the radar. Like, that's easy. I have enough money for that.
Or
but
maybe
Epstein,
you didn't do anything.
Or maybe you
were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And you have $1 billion and you have this massive empire that could all come crumbling down just because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep. So
who knows how many people actually participated actively in Epstein's scandals, and who were, you know, what is it? Just part of
participating?
The flock. Not even participating, just happen to be there.
Or happen to be there.
And and the reason I say that is because I firmly believe in innocent until proven guilty.
I do too.
So I would like to believe that, you know, not everybody who went to that island had malintent.
Right.
You know, I think that a lot of people that went there probably did go there because Epstein's a powerful, rich guy who frequently donated to good causes.
Yeah.
Scientific causes, philanthropic causes.
Yep.
Like there was a lot of things he did with his money that from the outside looking in looked like
wasn't bad.
Good ways to spend his money. Or direct money. And so people, you know, who see that he's doing those kinds of donations and charitable, you know, whatever,
right,
going there and saying, hey man, this might be a really good opportunity for us to do some good in the world. And then all of a sudden here comes a parade of 14 or 14-year-olds and you're like, whoa,
what is going on? Yeah. And then it's like, hey, I have you on camera.
You're sitting there with, you know, royalty and princes and you know, all kinds of other people who are just extremely powerful. And you're like, I got to take this to the grave.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
my grave is going to be here a lot sooner than I anticipated.
The rabbit hole this goes down is just incredibly terrifying. And the kind of names that are involved, is
there an investigation happening, you think?
Of course not.
Not by the FBI.
I mean, by
or the FBL. I'm sorry, the FBL.
FBL or the
Federal
CLA.
Bureau of Losers.
Yeah, I mean, maybe by hackers or people who have too much time on their hands, which is a good thing.
I'm waiting for Anonymous to drop it.
I would love.
I'm waiting for Anonymous to just be like, here it all is.
Everything.
Read it.
Everything.
Just bang.
Here's
like
the
gigabytes
aliens. Here's the
gigabytes and gigabytes and terabytes of information.
Oh
and just
my
be
gosh.
like, sift through it, boys.
Just figure. Yep. Look at
sift
it all.
Sift through it, boys and girls. It's here.
It does seem like this. I mean, it's not getting a lot of media attention anymore. So it's kind of being slowly swiped under the rug.
The propaganda machine does.
Right.
They suppress information.
They just keep suppressing the information. Yeah, it's as simple as that. So Ectum comes in and says, previous article real quick, they can't be held accountable if they can change the definition of accountable, of what's accountable. So that's a good point as well. And then a couple of emojis
kind of like
there.
recession. You can't say we're in a recession if we change the definition.
Yeah, recession. Aren't the Virgin Islands investigating something? I think
they subpoenaed Elon Musk.
Yes,
they subpoenaed Elon Musk, and they subpoenaed Wells Fargo people. Didn't
and
they?
they're looking more into the finances side of it. I don't think they're actually looking into the actual
Where's Ashton
deeds
Kutcher?
done itself.
Yeah, Is it J.P. Morgan that had to pay?
Was it J.P. Morgan or was it Wells Fargo? Oh yeah, it was J.P. Morgan. And Chase,
they had to pay that victim like $75 million.
Something like that. It was big.
That is huge.
It was big.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not 100% sure on there, so I won't intervene with that one.
No,
but $75 million ain't crap for J.P. Morgan.
Oh, no.
They're even bigger now after all these bank collapses. They bought up all the banks. They're even more powerful than they've ever been.
Yeah, SVB crashing and all those California banks. Hard to tell what they'll fine following the finances, though. That's true, too.
That's the old saying, follow the money.
Follow the money and you'll see where it leads to. It's just how deep they go with that money. And
well, I mean, when you're talking billions of dollars, that's a pretty deep rabbit hole.
You have to dive
that's deep. That's a deep hole.
It's going to take, I mean, honestly, I see this being something like with JFK. You know, at the end of our lives, they'll release it all because everybody who's involved is going to be dead by then.
Dead or not important.
Exactly.
That's almost what I think politics is. It's just like a big blackmail pool. Everybody's got crap on everybody.
Everybody's got crap on each other.
I mean, you're not far off, I bet.
Yeah, it's not. But anyways, so Epstein not dead now.
His legacy does live on.
Yeah, his legacy of.
But I would be willing to bet. Fresh pressed $1 bill, crisp, that he did not suicide.
I'd be willing to bet that. Actually, I'd probably put my house up on that. You know what? Screw it. Take everything. My 401, my house, everything. Throw it all out there, baby.
Hey, the government will take your 401k. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
buddy.
Don't worry. They'll take it anyway.
If you don't start taking disbursements by 72, they will definitely.
Isn't that wild? And they can tell you how much you can contribute towards that.
You have to take disbursements by 72 so we can take taxes out of it.
Dre says he agrees with you 100%, Stu. Yeah, which part, Dre? I can't remember. What'd you say?
I don't know who this Dre is that you speak
Dang
of.
it, I'm
you
sorry.
need to put some respect on his name.
Ectum.
I say a lot of things.
Yeah, Stuart says a lot of intelligent things, and then, just occasionally he...
So much information I got to keep, refilling and getting rid of, and...
Stu kind of reminds me sometimes of Will Ferrell from Old School when he's in the debate and he's like, so, blah, 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 blah. And it's just crystal perfect stuff, and then afterwards he's like, oh, what happened?
I love it. All right, moving forward. F-16s. Let's talk about the F-16s that were sent over to Ukraine. Top Gun question mark?
No, I think those are Tomcats, weren't they? F-18 Tomcats in Top Gun? Or the F-14s? Either way.
Yeah, either way. I think it was.
You know what the
16s,
F stands
though.
for? Effing badass.
I was gonna say freedom, but I like that too.
Yeah, well, I mean,
freedom
with a bomb, baby. Or missile to pick your poison.
Yeah, pick your poison. Biden announced during last week's Group of 7 summit in Hiroshima, Japan.
Hold on, before you really get into it. You know what F-16s cannot catch?
What?
Aliens. There's my plug.
Leave the aliens out of it. By the way, like, comment, share, and follow. That's the plug.
Helps out.
Anyways, that the U.S. would join the F-16 coalition. So his green light came after President Volodymyr Zelensky spent months pressing the West to provide his forces with American-made jets as he tries to repel Russia's now 15-month-old grinding invasion. But over the past 3 months, administration officials shifted toward the view that it was time to provide Ukraine's pilots with the training and aircraft needed for the country's long-term security needs, according to 3 officials familiar with the deliberations who requested anonymity. I live in anonymity.
Right there.
To discuss internal deliberations.
I mean, actually, it works because I was gonna say, "All right, there, Biden," but then I meant Nemo. So both of them
same
work.
difference. State Pentagon and NSC officials are now developing the training plan. When, where, and how to deliver F-16s to Ukraine as part of a long-term security effort. That would really suck if they got blown up along the way. U.S. officials say it will take several months to iron out details, but the U.S. Air Force has quietly determined the actual training could realistically be done in about 4 months. The Air Force based the far shorter estimate on a visit by 2 Ukrainian pilots for the U.S. Air Base in March, where they got to learn about the F-16 and fly simulators. The training officials say would take place in Europe. Another potential wrinkle in the F-16 conversation involves Turkey. So Turkey wants to buy 40 new F-16s from the U.S., but some in Congress opposing the sale until Turkey approves NATO membership for Sweden, which applied to join the alliance in the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has objected to Sweden's perceived support of the banned Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, the leftist extremist group DHKPC, and the followers of the U.S.-based Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen, who Ankara claims was behind a failed military coup in 2016. So,
how terrifying would it be to be in an F-16, right? Like, you got this F-16, you're feeling like a BAMF. You're up there flying around, you're doing your aerial maneuvers, and you're just cruising along, and then you hear, take her down, pilot. And you're like, who's that? And then an F-22 Raptor just drops out of the clouds above you. Like,
I could only imagine. I mean, you wouldn't,
Because an F-22 Raptor is the baddest thing in the air right now. Like, it is, oh, dude.
More badass than an eagle?
Yes.
Ooh.
I mean, eagles have really sharp talons and can snatch fish out of the water.
F-22s have bums.
F-22 can fly at supersonic speeds without afterburners, bro.
It's a great way of putting it.
Literally, like, radar neutral. They just fly around.
Who's been around longer, though?
Oh, eagles.
Eagles for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Point proved.
D comes in and says, pretty sure they were tomcats.
They were tomcats.
And then Ekdom comes in and says, I'll bet your house on that too. Of course he would. Political blackmail point. So that point. And then, or political blackmail pool.
No, it was the suicide thing. That's what we were betting the house on.
Yeah,
Epstein
that's what we were. No, but he's
saying
he agreed 100% with Stu's political blackmail pool.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then he said, respect the Stu. Signing off, my dudes. Hey, we'll see you, Ekdom. Appreciate you being
Peace
here
out.
for the night. But yeah, so
thank you for joining our show.
The Ukraine. So the situation. I'm actually not too frustrated that they're kind of discussing more about like the long-term security of Ukraine and being like, hey, we'll train you. We'll even give you a couple.
Deja vu.
But yeah, I mean,
communism's perfect on paper.
Well, hold on now.
All those Middle East troops we trained.
Yeah, well, that's
for
true.
years and years.
And then Osama bin Laden literally came out of the CIA. Or, sorry, was that Saddam?
No.
Osama, yeah, came out of the CIA.
We armed him,
trained him, armed him.
Then we went into Afghanistan and they hated us.
I mean, to be fair, they had a reason to hate us. Weapons of mass destruction that weren't even there.
Oh, we found them, though. They're right here.
They're right here.
I used to have a shirt that says, we found them, boys. The weapons of mass destruction. I had 2 arrows pointing up, so if you flexed.
I love that.
Yeah, I
kind of want that.
I can't find the shirt.
I
can't find it anywhere. I've checked Amazon. I've checked everywhere. It is non-existent. I'm like, God, I didn't realize the gold that I had.
No joke.
I used to wear it all the time.
That's an amazing shirt. But no, yeah, so it's tough to say, but like I said, I kind of agree with this. I'm cool with training them, and especially if we get them in NATO.
You know what I'm cool with?
What's that?
I'm cool with Trump's stance on it. Let's just stop having people die.
Don't fall for it, dude.
Yeah, don't
fall for it.
Come on, man. History repeats itself.
I know.
And if you keep falling for the same, like, fool me once, okay, shame on you. Fool me twice.
Now, what if Ukraine?
Now,
the question is, what if Ukraine's a part of NATO, though? Does that change things? Does that change your perspective?
No.
Interesting.
Why?
I mean, any of those countries in the Middle East, are any of them a part of NATO?
Who else in NATO pays their fair share to be a part of NATO?
Okay, fair point. America kind of carries NATO.
Yeah.
Damn, I don't know, man. It's so
What did Trump
hard.
say at the town hall the other day? I don't know if it's accurate. It's Trump, so it could be way off. But
Could be.
he's like, they're in 20 billion to our 170.
Jeez.
Uh-huh.
If it's that big of a difference, that's scary.
All of NATO. The rest of NATO is in 20 billion.
When we're in 170.
170.
If that's true, that's pretty scary.
Well, at first Biden said he wasn't going to send F-16s. So why?
Yeah, just like he said he wasn't going to do a lot of things.
Why do you think there's a change of mind?
Dean just said, I can't wait to see how many of these weapons are used against us in the future. God, that's the worst part, right?
What if America just pulled back, right? We just pulled out. We stopped being the world police and we just amassed
ourselves
and just became
none of these wars are even approved by Congress.
Sufficient, machine,
robust machine. Oh,
the
man.
machine,
the machine. Green machine. I am not opposed to that. And then, Stu, what did you just say? None of these wars are approved by Congress? That's another interesting thought.
Well, it's because we've never declared war. It's just operations.
Yeah, because we're not actually using our troops for that war. We're just using our money. And
when are we going to start marching Tesla bots over there?
Tesla bots. Whoa, Ryan. It's making too much sense, buddy. That's what Dean said.
Old Faithful, if you listen to me long enough, I'll make 1 or 2 points.
Occasionally.
The rest of it you might have to wear a tin hat for, but hey, every once in a while,
we do some good
make
stuff
a little
around
sense.
Here.
Yeah, full disclosure, I am for pulling every tie out of Ukraine.
I wouldn't necessarily be against kind of pulling everything back to just become a self-sufficient machine.
We may not be the dominating superpower in the world anymore, but everybody would know to just not mess with us.
But the problem is we are literally destroying ourselves from the inside out.
That's what I'm saying. If you pull the resources back in and make America great and just build the infrastructure within,
put this
within.
into perspective,
right.
Like we talked about earlier. You read this stat that only 84% have less than $5,000 in their bank account. But look at how much money we've sent to a war where people are dying.
Billion. That's the other thing is if you gave all 50 states that same 170 billion, it's like almost $3 billion a state. What could we do with that as far as infrastructure?
What
to put it in perspective too, it's from mostly income taxes in general, but you're taking that away from people,
future generations,
hardworking Americans that don't have $5,000 in their bank, and you're sending it to these places that have nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
Put that into perspective for me.
You can't. You can't.
I'm going to pass on that one. I'm not going to put that into perspective for you.
You guys will give me an answer before you leave tonight.
I guess really it's, again, you're looking towards international, affairs. You want to stay good internationally, and you want to have a good standing with most countries. And
we could be completely self-sufficient.
I know. But that's...
If we took Sweden's approach, or not Sweden, Switzerland's approach. And stayed neutral. Right, and just stayed neutral, like we did before World War II and World War I. We were going to stay neutral. We weren't going to get involved in those conflicts. We were absolutely adamantly
until they hit us.
Let's cut the BS. The United States wants to overthrow Putin. They want to go to war with Russia.
If they wanted to overthrow Putin, then put a bullet in his head and call it a day.
But
it's like the passive aggressive approach.
Well, yeah, because then that fuels the what is it? MIC, the military industrial complex.
I mean, this has been building up for years, this Ukraine stuff.
I mean, yeah, but if they really wanted to do that with Putin, I feel like you have the resources to do that. So get one of your agents to infiltrate, become the next political head,
to blow up over top of the Kremlin.
Yeah, God, come on, Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, like literally,
they didn't take ownership of that.
They did that. They didn't want to take ownership because it was embarrassing. Like, come on.
But look, think of Russia and Putin. Since Trump has been president, how much stuff has the United States federal government blamed on Russia?
Everything.
A lot.
So is there not some type of animus towards them?
It would seem that way.
I like honestly though. Again, if the American government really wanted to, like Ryan said, put a bullet in his head.
We've
used
we
one
have
of our agents to infiltrate
2.1 miles
That's what I'm
away.
saying. And you can literally just put somebody and institute somebody into that political system to become the next president. Like, isn't that literally what we did in the Middle East? Isn't that what we did in Afghanistan?
Have you ever looked at South America? Because we do it there all the time.
There you go. And now, granted, when we look at history, what happens? They turn back on us because they're like, get the hell out of our country. And then
is it a little different when it's a world superpower that has nukes?
I mean, that does give them an absolute reason to go to war. The Putin's excuse me. The Putin what is it? The Putin simps? No.
Putin simps?
The sympathetics.
Oh, yeah.
They would be like, the people in government who are loyal to Putin would be like, this was absolutely America, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And then that gives them.
Yeah.
But if what we're seeing in Ukraine is accurate, it doesn't sound like Russia wants action.
Right.
It really doesn't. But then China gets involved. Maybe China says, we gotta stay out of this one.
Yeah.
We'll see where the chips fall.
So ultimately, you all are against sending these F-16s.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And you are ultimately wanting to pull completely out of this whole conflict.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And I would like to pull out of NATO too.
Ooh.
Hot take.
Maybe not pull out, but decrease the amount we're funding.
No. Pull out.
Pull out completely?
Pull out.
I'd be okay with decreasing the funding.
Nope. Pull out completely.
Because isn't Switzerland even in NATO?
Don't care.
Fair enough.
Pull out.
Because I'm more of like the approach of, hey, we're going to back out from being the police of the world. We're going to focus on ourselves. We'll stay and be like aligned with you all, but we're not going to continue to carry you all on our backs.
Maybe not even pull out of NATO, but threaten it.
Threaten it? That'd be a good idea too.
Listen, we've got all these bases all over your countries, and we've got this, stronghold on the military might in the world, and that's all fine and dandy. But guess what? You guys have been abusing this relationship, and so we're gonna pull out.
Or like if
and then watch how fast they come back, and they're like, please don't. Or they say, you know what? We don't need them.
Yeah. Or
and then if you allow people to govern themselves.
If that statistic is true that Trump said, like where we are at 170 billion and everybody combined is at 22, I'd just be like, you know what? We're going to take 150 billion of that back. Here's 20 billion. You all can figure out, or 22 billion. We'll just match what everybody else is doing.
No. Why would we do that? We're one country. That's like, what is it, 12?
Screw it then. I would just go to the second most contributing country and match them and say, there, done. We're still like the contributing force, but...
And then we're going to also pull troops out of our bases.
Yep. Oh, 100%. We'll pull all of our infrastructure. We'll pull all of our everything back.
And then we're going to drill American oil.
Yep.
And we're going to strengthen our alliance with Canada and Mexico, strengthen our borders.
Yep.
And, strengthen policy within Canada and the Yukon that is pretty much a remote, desolate area that has oil-rich deposits, and just say, hey, listen, we're gonna partner with Canada, we're gonna partner with Mexico, we're gonna get rid of the cartels in Mexico, we're gonna institute, good things in Mexico.
Like a real government.
And we're gonna do the same thing in Canada. We're gonna strengthen you guys. We're locking arms with you.
Yep.
And we're just gonna become the 3 most powerful countries in the world.
Interesting thoughts there.
Man, wouldn't that be something crazy?
Become one big
giant continent of
superpower. Wow. That'd be interesting.
And if we did that, we'd have the cheapest labor in the world, because Mexican labor is now beats out China's labor for...
Really?
Yeah, that just happened.
I didn't know that.
We'd have the most oil in the world, because
Canada.
If you tap into the U.S. reserves
and
you tap into Canada's reserves, we now have more oil than anywhere else in the world. So, and we have made the largest leaps and bounds in the fusion reaction So like we would have an absolute monopoly on energy. We'd have an absolute monopoly on military might. We'd have an absolute monopoly on technology.
I love it.
Like the only thing we'd need to do is transfer, a couple of people from Thailand to Mexico, have them share the technology with us to create superconductors and microchips, and then put them on mass production in Mexico.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, dude, we have an absolute monopoly. And from that position of strength and power, everybody would have to come to us, our three countries, if they wanted to do anything real in the world.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting the dynamic to see what we could do if we just became self-sufficient. It would be very interesting.
And this would be a great topic. I wish Manny was on here because I'd love to hear his
we've had discussions about this before. He's not big on the whole self-sufficient idea. He likes being involved like with foreign affairs.
Well, yeah, but that's a globalist mentality. So I would absolutely like to directly challenge his thought process on that.
We'll have to have him on here sometime and talk to him about that.
That would be awesome. I would love to get him either to call in or, video chat in.
Bring him back on, honestly. I'd love to.
That'd be awesome. Because I would love to have the discussion with him because I would love to see his side.
Yeah, no, I would.
Because I am adamantly against the globalist thing.
Yeah, it's...
like
COVID proved how important it is to be at least mostly self-sufficient.
Yeah, because look at what our supply chains and how slow everything was moving. And
well, they broke down. They completely were decimated.
Yeah, we had shipping containers just sitting out at sea, just doing nothing, and it's like, what the hell is going on? It was a bad situation.
Well, and the other thing is this, and I include Mexico in there because we need the Panama Canal.
All right.
So Mexico and Panama and those countries, yes, we bring them in. Why don't we strengthen South America as well?
Right.
And just make it the whole western half of the world as just this one gigantic superpower. The other thing is this, if we strengthen ties with South America, now nobody can mess with us. Because if Venezuela and us are allies and we have Canadian oil, American oil, and Venezuelan oil, there is literally, we would own the oil market.
What would be really cool is if the whole world could just come together and we could start universal expansion.
That won't happen. Until AI.
Not possible.
No, until AI happens. That's not possible.
Then they'll create, the entire world of...
Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, just beam me up.
Man, I got into one there. I'm sorry about that, guys.
No, it's okay. I actually enjoyed that conversation. Well, so full circle, F-16. But no, we are in agreement that, pull out of Ukraine, done with sending the money. F-16s is not a good idea.
Yeah, no, because I think that just escalates the conflict.
Fair enough.
It's a no for me, dog.
It's a no for me.
And for that reason, I'm out.
All right, so there's our take on the F-16 story. So, obviously we'll keep you updated, let you know what happens there, if we actually do train their, troops on how to fly our machines, and again, what kind of more money we're going to put into Ukraine. So we'll stay on top of that for you all, because that's what we do here. Last article of the night. Very, very strange situation that happened. So the U.S. Secret Service said it had detained the driver of a rented box truck that crashed into security barriers near the White House on Monday night, perhaps intentionally, but that there were no injuries or ongoing danger. So a Reuters witness said investigators found a Nazi swastika flag that apparently came from inside the truck, which crashed into the barriers at Lafayette Square, adjacent to the White House grounds. Preliminary investigation reveals the driver may have intentionally struck the security barriers at Lafayette Square. Anthony Guglielmi, Chief of Communication for the Secret Service. Say that word for me.
Where is it at, Stu?
Right there.
Where?
Anthony Guglielmi.
Guglielmi.
Guglielmi. I'll take it. Guglielmi, chief of communications of the Secret Service, said on Twitter. Why would the chief of communications for the Secret Service be on Twitter? That's besides the point.
Twitter's lit, bro.
Yeah.
It's where it's at. It gets the people going.
A spokesperson for the Washington Fire Department said a call came in at 9:40 p.m.
But it's provocative.
For what was described as a suspicious package investigation. Soon, there was a major law enforcement and public safety response before investigators determined the contents of the mostly empty truck were harmless. This is just a weird story. So, somebody with a
this is a little strange
swastika Nazi flag crashed into these barriers, potentially, intentionally, and that's just the end of it?
Well, I mean, nothing was done. Nothing came from it, so why wouldn't it be the end of it?
I mean, why would... If this was intentional, why would you just run your van into barriers and then be done with it? And then, if it's not intentional, how hammered was this dude?
Yeah, I was going to say, people do stupid things when they're drunk.
Yeah, like, seriously, I don't know. It's just, that strikes me as a very weird story. Because, again, like, don't get me wrong. I don't want anything bad to happen, but typically, if you're gonna run a van into a security barrier or box truck, typically you're gonna have explosives. You're gonna be there's a larger plot behind it. This dude just ran into the damn thing.
Hey, man.
Hey, you guys want to know something?
What?
There will be more investigation into this than Hunter Biden and Jeffrey Epstein.
I believe it.
We'll keep track of what happens, and we'll obviously touch up on that.
This is going to be... Actually, no, it probably won't, simply because Ron DeSantis actually just announced his bid for candidacy.
It's probably...
So that's going to dominate the news. Shuffle. That's going to dominate the news cycle.
So Dean asked, are we sure the guy wasn't just high or drunk or high? We don't know yet, Dean. At least not that I've seen.
Both?
And did he rent the van or steal the van?
Both?
I don't know if it said.
Maybe he rented it and with the intentions of stealing it.
Maybe.
Fight for the
okay. So officers retrieved the flag and plastic evidence bags that had been laid out on the sidewalk following the crash and placed them in the back of the U-Haul. So it was a U-Haul. Okay.
Literally says U-Haul.
Go down to the picture. That's not a U-Haul.
Yeah,
it's a Penske.
It's a U-Haul.
No, it is a U-Haul. It looked yellow in the picture.
So I'm assuming he was obviously renting it, right? Because nobody buys a U-Haul
what's the picture on the side? Is that burning crosses on the side of the U-Haul?
Oh, wow.
Or is that a pirate ship? What is that? Pirate ship.
No, the good look, though, it almost looked like a burning cross.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, so I just don't understand this.
That's a nice U-Haul, too.
It's a nice U-Haul.
I noticed the little details.
The little things.
What does it say on the back there? Load dock. Easy load ramp.
Yeah, dude. So odd. This dude
less of the work.
Just goes to the White House, runs into barricades, and just has a flag in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
What in the world?
And did I didn't even see in the article where they released his name.
I believe they do have a name on him, though.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because they talked about Chris Zaboji, who was a witness to the crash. They talked about, he's an airline pilot in Washington. But other than that, I haven't seen where they've given an official name or anything of that nature. So we'll keep on top of that, of course. But
do you think this is a hate crime?
In the video, the guy just drives into it. You would think if he was going to try something, he would have gotten plenty of speed before ramming into the barriers. Exactly.
It looks like there's a video from TMZ.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, go ahead and pull that video up. Screw it. Let's see what I just don't understand.
Is there actual footage?
Hit the unmute button there.
Oh, there's not footage of him like actually running in. Oh.
This dude had to be drunk.
Oh, dude, I saw this on TikTok. I thought it was just like a video of like, haha, look at this guy. He's drunk.
I just do not understand.
Man, he really tried to get some speed there, didn't he? I'm going to hit this barricade as fast as I can from 5 feet away. Dang.
I don't know, guys. This is okay. I don't know what that is, but
What
let's
is
get
that?
off our screen. Goodness.
Wait, was that the border?
Sal Vertish Kandula is the driver's name.
Well, that doesn't sound German.
Who is that? I don't know, but this is one of the weirdest things I've ever had the opportunity to come across and to talk about. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I don't understand why somebody would just
He was arrested
drive.
on including threatening to kill or harm a president, vice president, or family member because he ran into the barricade.
Dude,
19 years old. His life is over.
from Missouri.
Why was he in Washington D.C. with
Okay, so go to one of like these newer articles, Stu. Let's see if there's like an intention. Charges filed against driver. I don't understand. Was there like an intention? Was there a reason? Was he drunk?
I don't know if that's known yet.
Oh, he's not a U.S. citizen.
Did he plead guilty?
I mean, I'd imagine.
They got him into court quick.
Yeah, they did.
Maybe it was just an arraignment.
Oh. Significant risk to the community. Keep scrolling down, so I want to read some of this article that you have pulled up here. There were no injuries to any.
Wait, was he released on $1,000 bail? Is that what it said up there?
Back up. Kandula is currently charged with one federal count of depredation of property of the U.S. in excess of $1,000. No. Keep going down. According to the court documents, blah blah blah, sending multiple pedestrians running.
Maybe it's just a distraction.
That sounds like.
Okay, keep going. Keep going. Go back up a little bit. What did it say? A little bit more. In the interview, he made threats against President Biden, saying that he intended to get to the White House, seize power, and put in charge of the nation.
That dude was not drunk or high.
This dude was just crazy.
Or no,
man.
he was high. He was just high on PCP.
He also stated that he had planned the attack for 6 months. You planned that for 6 months, and that's the best you could do?
You planned to drive into the barrier going 5 miles an hour? Like, wow,
What up
dude.
with the flag? Just one flag, nothing else.
Acts were calculated to influence or affect the conduct of government by intimidation or coercion or to retaliate against the government conduct. I don't know, dude.
Hey, don't worry, the FBI's on it.
The FBL is involved. Don't worry, guys.
The FBL is involved.
All right. Well, that's the end of that story because that one was just ridiculous. So, yeah.
Right.
Oh, here we go. In law enforcement interviews after the incident, Kandula allegedly spoke fondly of the Nazis who have great history, according to a criminal complaint filed against the young man. Kandula alleged he said he admires the Nazis' authoritarian nature, eugenics, and their one world order, the court document revealed. Yeah, well, who's that article through, Dean, if you don't mind? Just curious out of that. But yeah, I don't know, man. This is like one of the weirdest stories I've ever heard.
Look, the cop's like, that dude was high on PCP.
This dude was...
Look at this guy. Watch.
Dude's on crack. Like, seriously, if that's the best you can come up with after 6 months...
Dude, when it goes through that, like, when he hits the barrier, it's kind of like, bruh.
He was probably like, well, I tried.
Do you think he got out and Xena war cried after that?
Oh, my God.
It reminds
Dean
me
says
of
NBC News.
It reminds me of the SpongeBob episode where they're trying to get out of Sandy Cheeks' little bubble. And Patrick goes,
wait, was that her name? Sandy Cheeks?
yeah.
You didn't know that?
What?
And Patrick goes, open sesame. Well, I've done all I can do.
You never knew it was Sandy Cheeks?
I did not know it was Sandy Cheeks.
Yeah. Cheeks. It's funny.
Good old Cheeks.
All right, well, that's to wrap up our episode. I apologize we ended on such an anticlimactic story, but like
I don't know, that was pretty
it's kind of
climatic.
funny. Or that.
Climatic?
Funny.
Both?
I agree.
Both.
So yeah, it was a very, very good night.
I like how the next article is, can I hire somebody to rent or somebody to drive a rental U-Haul? Can I hire someone to drive my U-Haul moving truck?
That's hilarious.
That's literally the next article. Fox News, charges filed against driver of U-Haul truck that crashed. Next article, or next source. Can I hire someone to drive my U-Haul moving truck?
RentedTruckDriver.com. Thank you to everybody who came on tonight. Dean, Extum. In other news, apparently DeSantis' Twitter event was a complete mess tonight. Interesting, I guess. I mean, it would make sense when you release something like that and it's as big as it is.
So much bad publicity coming up. It's going to be glorious to watch.
Everything's going to be going against DeSantis, so be ready for a lot of that.
Really, this actually could be one of the worst things that could happen for the Republican Party.
Break them up.
Because of the split in voters.
Between Trump and DeSantis.
And next thing you know, we end up with Biden back in office.
Ooh.
Unless one of them kind of starts to see the writing on the wall, whichever way is going stronger, and then pulls the other one in to be VP.
Right. And
but would Trump ever be a VP to DeSantis? I doubt it.
I doubt it. It would have to go the other way around.
I could see DeSantis dodoing VP for Trump.
For 4 years and then going right into the presidency.
Maybe that's the plan.
Maybe.
You ever think about that? Maybe that's the plan.
Maybe there's a bigger picture.
Maybe they're going in this thing like, okay, we'll act like we don't like each other, but then, because that's what always happens, right? They go to the debate stage in the primaries. The ones who lose end up getting, one of the guys who loses ends up getting chosen as a VP. So maybe they'll go duke it out in the primaries, and then whichever one looks like it's winning, you join them on the ticket.
Obama didn't do that for who was his was it Clinton? Was it Hillary? I thought it was Hillary Clinton that he beat in the primary.
I don't think Clinton and Obama went head to head, did they?
I thought they did for the Democratic primary.
I believe so.
Yeah, I thought they did for the Democratic primary. And then he was like, no, let's go with
I see what happens when you get too close to the Clinton family.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Biden.
List of names. I'd rather have Dick Cheney as my vice president.
But in other news, so yeah, thank you all so much for coming by tonight. Appreciate you all so much. We love what we do here, and we do it because we love you guys. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and kind of shut us out for the night. And
you have the list?
I have the list.
Oh, so, 2 nights in a row.
Thank you all so much. And of course, I want to thank all of those who are military personnel who are active duty or retired, law enforcement, fire and rescue, doctor, nurses, paramedics, and hospital staff, farmers, those in American manufacturing, thank you. Those in social work who are taking care of the U.S. citizens, you're incredible, thank you. And last but not least, ethical congressional representatives, thank you.
Ethical being the key word here,
very
guys.
Key. This was a fantastic episode. We always have fun doing this, and without you guys, it wouldn't be nearly as much fun. So, Dean, thank you so much for the excellent time. Thank you for everything. Thank you. So, with all that being said, please make sure that you all share this, not with those that you agree with, but also those you disagree with, because we here at The Fact Is believe that we have more in common than what we don't. So please make sure that you share this with anyone, everyone. And for the last time of the night, make sure to like,
comment, share, and follow.
Just what Ryan said. That's exactly what we need.
Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, on the Royal Rumble, on the other one.
TikTok.
That's the one.
TikTok.
And then also, are we on Twitter yet?
We're not. We got to work on that.
Yeah, we're going to have to get a blue check.
With the potential hiatus next week, maybe that's what will happen.
Could we make our Twitter
Twitter Day Blue?
What about ooh, I like that.
I like that too.
The Day Blue.
The Day Blue.
What about Truth? Are we on Truth?
Truth Social? Shit, maybe we should be. I'll be on any social media that you all can share for us. So
what about Snapchat? Are we on Snapchat?
We're not.
Would it work on Snapchat? We can go live on Snapchat, couldn't we?
Maybe. I'll look into that one, too.
What
Big
about,
one's Twitter, though.
What about, what other social?
MySpace, bro. We got to get into that MySpace realm.
Call me.
Tom, call me. But yeah, so just keep an eye out for that. We will continue to expand and continue to do everything we can to bring our information to you all because that's what we like to do.
Really, truthfully, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to give you more stuff, more homework to do when you like, comment, share, and follow.
That's
we just
exactly
want you to go
right.
to all of them, including
MySpace.
Oh, man, the worst thing that ever happened to MySpace was Tom retiring.
I know.
I know he did well. I know he got out with
and we actually, if I'm not mistaken, we linked all of our social medias together, correct, Stu? Yeah, we linked them all together, and you can find that. So please make sure if you click on that, it's easy to get to all of our socials. So
with all due respect, and I mean all due respect, if you're not liking, commenting, sharing, or following, are you actively participating in the Fact Is?
Wisest words spoken all night. Please remember that. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming to the 125th episode of the Fact Is podcast. We're your host, Nath Moses.
And I'm Ryan Mays.
And we will see you all for episode 126 soon.
Peace!